Hey folks, Good Guy Glenn here, and today is Sunday, November 24th, 2024. It's been a while since I made a video, but I'm here in my apartment, and I just decided I needed to make this video because there's been a lot going on, but this video is very important to me, and it's going to talk about mental health, and especially mental health amongst the veteran community. I was very angry. I was going to make this video last night. I'm glad I waited because I didn't want to be angry when I made this video. But let's just be honest. I'm tired of getting phone calls. I'm tired of getting phone calls about friends who are no longer with us because they lost their battle with whatever demons that they have inside their head. It's just very upsetting when you see good guys, especially in the veteran community, guys that were once proud warriors that just for one reason or another couldn't handle what was going on inside their head and decided that the best route to end their pain would be to do something stupid. I hate that I have to be very vague in some of the terminology I use because YouTube is terrible about words, certain words, but we're not stupid here. You know what I'm talking about. We're talking about individuals who take matters into their own hands and are no longer present on this earth. And I just think that's a shame. I just want to reiterate a couple of things. First and foremost, know that you are never alone. Okay? You are never alone. You have buddies, you have friends, you have teammates, people who you served with, who understand. And something that I find that winds up happening, something that happened the other night to me, was I was sitting home getting ready to go to sleep, and I got a Facebook instant messenger message from an individual I served in 2nd Battalion, 6th Marines with, who has been going through some issues. And a psychologist had said he may have PTSD, and he was embarrassed. And he was basically asking me permission to get help. I mean, he didn't ask me permission to get help, but he kept reiterating, bro, I'm not a pussy. I'm not a pussy. I'm not weak. And I'm like, bro, it's okay. It's okay. We have all suffered through something. And it doesn't always have to be service related, and I'm going to get into that next. It just so happens that some of these issues are things that happen that really have nothing to do with our service to the country. It's hard for vets. It's hard because they spend so much time. It's hard because they spend so much time in the indoctrination process, especially in the Marine Corps. You go into the Marine Corps, and starting from the first day you get there and first phase when you get dropped, the whole entire issue is to break you down. They take away your ability of self, so you can no longer refer to yourself as a I or a me. It becomes this recruit. And, in my case, Recruit Gargiulo, request permission to make a head call, sir. They take away that, and they break you down, and they take away your sense of self. And they want to break you. And then second phase, we start to build you back up. You learn marksmanship skills, and you start to learn the ways of how to become a Marine. Third phase is the warrior phase, where you go to BWT and I guess the Crucible. That's something I didn't do when I went in. It was something that came later, but the principle is the same. The warrior spirit. They teach you to live on within the Corps. If you die, you're going to live on within the Corps. And even in our hymn, if the Army and the Navy ever looked on heaven's scenes, they would find the streets are guarded by United States Marines. And they sell you this. And then, like, for me, I was an infantry guy. I was in 03. So I went to infantry school, and they just continue with all of that. And then when you're in, the whole idea that if you die in battle, it's glorious, all of that. And then you come back, to the rear with the gear, and it's time to get out, and you go to SEPS classes, and it's basically, okay, here's how to write a resume, and here's a job fair. The heck with the 4 years, 8 years, however long you did. and however often you were in theater, the heck with deprogramming you. Now we're going to send you off. Good luck, Marine. Good luck, soldier. Good luck, whoever. You come out, and it's not necessarily that you're weak or unable to cope. It's that your coping mechanisms are all different from being in the service. Some guys turn to drugs and alcohol, and some guys go out and they get all hammered up in a bar, and then some guy runs his mouth, and what do you know? What do you fall back on? To locate, close with, and destroy your enemy using fire and maneuver, right? Like, these are things that they teach you, and so you get into a fight and you get arrested, and then you go down this rabbit hole, and it's hard for you to deal with your emotions because you're so used to pushing that down, to not be seen as weak. And you get into a relationship and you get married, and your wife just doesn't understand. And they don't understand you, and they don't understand how short you can be, and they don't understand how matter-of-fact you can be, and how sometimes you fall back on, do it now, move. And it's not that you mean to be nasty. It's not anything. It's just that you've been programmed for instantaneous results. When you're told to do something, you instantaneously do it. And that's something that could be a good attribute and make you a good employee, going forward, because you're going to do what you're tasked to do, because you have a sense of mission accomplishment and a sense of pride. So you do it. But in relationships and in parenting, sometimes it comes off as cruel, or you're just not understood. And then, your wife ends up leaving you, or your significant other ends up leaving you. And a lot of guys turn to alcohol or learn to try to numb the pain. It becomes a spiral. And then where do you go for help? The VA? The VA won't help you, other than there are some programs, but they're not substantially worth anything. I can tell you from experience. What they're going to try to do is push medication on you. And they're going to try to medicate you and never really get down to the problem and never really talk to you. They're going to want you to get a rating. And it's hard to get a rating. It was a little bit easier a few years ago, but once again, they're cracking down on, but if you get a rating and you get diagnosed with PTSD or clinical depression, I've seen this firsthand with someone I knew who became a cop. He became a police officer after doing several tours in Iraq and Afghanistan, got out, became a cop, started having problems, started feeling depression and anxiety. It started to affect his marriage. His wife left him. So he said, I need to get help. I need to get help. I want to try to save my marriage. I want to save my family. I'm going to get help. So he goes to get help, and he was suspended on his job because he went for mental counseling. And that led to taking away his sense of purpose. It sent him spiraling, and he started to drink, and then he lost his job, and that made it worse. And then he rode his quad out into the woods, and he put a Glock in his mouth, and he's no longer with us. And you know what he did? He sent out a mass text to all his brothers, all his fellow service members, guys he served with, and he apologized for being weak. That's it. That's the end. And that's what so many of us face. Loneliness. And even though we know that we have people we could reach out to, you sometimes feel so alone, even in a crowded room. And going back to what I was saying before, I got ahead of myself. That's why the most important thing is to build a sense of community, to just get out of the house. Don't sit there and drink the bottle of Jim Beam. You know what I mean? Get out of the house. Go keep yourself busy. Join organizations like the Elks, like the Knights of Columbus. Get involved with your local church. I go to church every Sunday now, since I've moved to this town that I'm living in. The local church is right down the street. It's St. Anthony's, which is funny. My mother always prayed to St. Anthony. So I go to church for a sense of community. If you know me, I'm not a big believer in organized religion. Now, I know you're going to say, well, you're always praying and you're always talking about loving God, right? And saying your prayers. Oh, 100%. I have faith. I believe. I have a relationship with Christ. And he's helped me. And I've talked about this on this channel before. And that is always going to be something with me, is my relationship with Christ. And this video isn't about that. But I don't believe in religion, because religion is man. You could go out in your backyard and look up to heaven and see the shining sun and the leaves on the trees and this beautiful green earth that has been given to us. And you could pray. Jesus warned us about this when he talked about, when you pray, lock yourself in your room and pray alone. Don't go into the temples and into the streets like the hypocrites do. And I think a lot of times that's what you see in church. I go to church. I go to church for community. I like to talk to people there. I'm trying not to be so alone and isolated, because I find when I went out on the road, OTR, as a trucker, I isolated myself, and I thought it was a great way to be alone with my thoughts and just go over some things. And really isolating yourself when you're in that kind of situation is no good. It's no good. And I've made some great friends on the road who I still talk to this day. Individuals who are usually veterans who are going through the same things I'm going through. But I've just noticed that there is a tendency for veterans to have relationship problems. And I myself am a victim of this. I fight the good fight every day. And it's not easy. But I'm not alone. And I have good friends who've helped me through. And most of these guys are veterans in a veteran community. Luckily, I've got, guys who were on my team, when I was in the Marine Corps, 1st Battalion, 2nd Marines, who reached out to me, have helped me, who've prayed with me, who've walked me through the hard times. I'm making it through day by day. That's not to say that I don't have my times. The weekend is always hardest for me. Sundays are hard for me. That's why I started going to church. I hike as well, but we've been having the wildfires up here where I'm living, off the Palisades. That's on the Hudson River, right outside New York City, for those of you who don't know. Up here in northern Jersey, two doors up from me is New York State. So I tried, hiking. That's a real solitary thing, but I go to church. I try to think positively. I pray. But I go through it, man. We all go through it. We all have our moments, but you're not alone. And ending it all isn't the answer, especially if you have kids. And I get it. Sometimes the pain is so bad. And I think that's something that people who don't suffer with depression don't understand, is there's physical pain that comes along with it. It's not just, oh, I feel sad. Like you feel like you've been beaten up. Like you got into a fight the night before. Your joints hurt. Your body hurts. You just don't have the energy to do anything. You stop cleaning your apartment. You don't want to do your laundry. You don't even want to check your mail. And it's tough. And it's something that you have to get up every morning. You have to make your bed. This is something that I practice every day, is I make my bed no matter what. I make my bed and I set forth in my day. And I look in the mirror and I try to smile. Even if I have to force the smile, I try to smile and be, try to think positively. And it's not easy, man. And I'm not going to be the person who says, just get over it, because it's not that easy. But you know what? Know that you're not alone. Know that if you need to, reach out to the resources at hand and try to get help. And that might not be the VA, but the VA might be a start. Maybe you go to the VA. Maybe if you're lucky, you get hooked up with a shrink like I got hooked up with at the VA. Now, I had to go through a couple before I found one that was right. But the one that I have now, she's great. She doesn't push medication. She understands and knows that medication isn't always the answer. It's a temporary Band-Aid. Going over what is causing you the pain is a big factor. But things you should definitely try to stay away from is alcohol. I'm not gonna preach and be like a teetotaler. There was a time where I loved to have a couple cocktails myself, but I generally stay away from alcohol for 2 reasons. Number one, I cooked my liver with anabolic steroids in my life. I don't know if we've ever talked about that in the past, but I really did some damage to my liver with Anavar and, other substances. So there's that. There's recovering my liver and my fatty liver disease that I have. And alcohol just puts me in a real dark place. It makes me depressed. And it probably would make me do dumb things. And there were times where I needed strength, where I was holding on by my fingernails. And if I had been under the influence of some substance, who knows? Who knows if I'd be here right now making this video? I'm tired of getting phone calls. Because people are gone. Because people have lost their battle. And I don't want to see you all lose your battle. So, like I said, if you can reach out, find resources to help you, do it. And if you have guys that were on your team, or I don't know, like maybe you were in infantry in the military, if you have guys who you served with who reach out to you because they need you, or you see that maybe they're floundering a little bit on their social media posts, you reach out to say, hey, bro, you good? And they might be like, yeah, man, I'm good. But you know what? Just the fact you reached out means a lot to them, because it meant a lot to me. And I've been fortunate. I have a good support network, and I have my faith in the man upstairs. These are all important things. So you have to know, you don't know what is coming tomorrow. You don't know. You don't know how your life can turn around for the better tomorrow. And sometimes it seems like the darkest days are coming. Don't have that attitude, man. You make the difference. You have the power to turn it all around, and you can. And if you're out there, this is for my truckers. If you're out there and you're in your sleeper at night and you got things creeping in and your old lady left you and you don't see your kids and they're not giving you your home time and you're not getting miles, or you're getting too many miles, or they're pushing you further away from home, or whatever your problems are, reach out to somebody. Reach out to a good friend. Everybody has somebody. Just talk to somebody. Don't waste this beautiful life that you've been given. Don't waste seeing another sunrise or sunset, because that's God's grace that He's given all of us. And I want you to know that you are loved and that I love you. Because I try to love everybody now. There was a time where I held a lot of hatred in my heart, that I was an angry person, that I was bitter. And I had to deal with a lot of stuff and unpack a lot of things. And when I lost the greatest love of my life, I was only left with myself, to look at myself and to look at how I've lived my life the last so many years, and what I could do to be a better person, to change. And every day, I try to be a better person. And I ask God for strength, courage, and wisdom to be His servant, to live more like Christ. And maybe religion ain't your thing, and that's cool too, bro. But you can still take the same principle of how can I be better today? How can I be a better person? Maybe instead of saying, fuck you, to somebody who's annoying you, try to understand that they might be having a bad day, that maybe they're going through something too. And I think that if we understood each other a little bit more, if we took the time to think about why somebody's so anxious that they're doing something stupid like cutting you off in traffic, instead of beeping your horn and giving them the finger, just sit back and be like, well, maybe they need to be somewhere faster than me. Easier said than done, I know. You know what I always tell you. Love God. Say your prayers. Love your family. Eat a banana and a Greek yogurt every day. Drink plenty of water. And as always, if you like this video, smash that like button. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so when I drop another video, you get a notification. It's been a long time since I made a video. I know. And I know I always say I'm going to start making more videos, but today I did. Because I've been going through some stuff myself. And we're going to try to make this more of a normal thing once again. So once again, this is Good Guy Glenn. Thanks for watching.